What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, and I'm here bringing you guys my team builder and battle for week number 6 of season 2 of the PCL, where this week we are taking on the Minnesota Twineedles, coached by It's Sock. His links and stuff will be in the description down below, as well as all the other coaches in the PCL, as well as the link to the PCL Discord. So, if you guys missed last week's game, we took on the Arkansas Razor Winds, and we took a 2-0 loss in that game. Just kind of me misplaying at the end with my Nihilego. So, we are now 3-2. We've lost back-to-back games, and we are taking on Salk and his Minnesota Twineedles in a divisional matchup. So, we will be playing him again later on in the season. So, it's a pretty important matchup. Since it's a division matchup, I want to try to get this win, just get some advantage over my opponent, something along those lines. And you see his team at the bottom, consisting of the Zapdos, Dugtrio, Flygon, Smeargle, Quillfish, Torterra, Dialga, Keldeo, Azumarill, Girafarig, and the Mega Heracross, with his Z users being the Torterra and the Azumarill. So, first and foremost, he has a lot of... He has some, I guess you could say awkward mons in some retrospect, like the Girafarig, Torterra to a lesser extent. But then you see he does have Dialga just in that mix, which is actually pretty big in terms of, like, from a matchup standpoint, because Fire plus Dragon plus Steel does do a number to a good majority of my team. To a lesser extent, something like Seismitoad can take a hit, obviously, but Dialga is actually a pretty big nuisance. I'd say Dugtrio too, since my main switch into Dialga is Aegislash, but luckily for me, Arena Trap does not affect my Aegislash, so I'm not trapped by Arena Trap Dougie, which is great. Zapdos can be a bit of a problem. It's always just having a bulky pivot into my physical attackers like Mega Gallade can be a bit annoying. But in hindsight, since it's a divisional matchup, I didn't want to try to bring my best stuff to this week, as I play him again down the line, so I could bring my better stuff then. And then there's also still a possibility that I could play him in the playoffs, so again, it's more of a sense of trying not to bring my best right away in the first matchup. So that's kind of my reasoning. Just for some of my sets, I did, like I said, try my best to prep for everything, not to leave anything to chance. So just jump right into the team builder here. First Pokemon you see on your screen, we have a Mega Gallade, Swords Dance, Close Combat, Thunder Punch, and Ice Punch. Very straightforward set. Max attack, enough speed to outspeed Keldeo. Rest is thrown into HP. The combination of Close Combat, Thunder Punch, and Ice Punch pretty much hits his entire team neutrally. The only thing I kind of wish I was able to put was like Zen Headbutt to hit the Mega Heracross harder, but other than that, his entire team just doesn't appreciate these 3 moves in general. It just does a good number to his team as a whole. Nice and solid breaker for my potential win con, which I will get into in a minute. But this is a very straightforward set, nothing much else to say in that regard. And next up, we have the debut of Porygon Z, as I'm finally bringing my Porygon Z in this matchup. We have Choice Scarf with Tri-Attack, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, and Trick. Just a very straightforward max HP, max special attack, max speed. Timid Nature to Speed Tie with a potential Choice Scarf Dialga. I say potential because I really feel as though Dialga would be like to switch up its moves, like having the combination of Flash Canning, like my Clefable, Fire Blast for my Aegislash, and then having some Dragon Stab just for everything else in general. On my team would just be very, very nice. So, because I'm really expecting this Dialga to be like Stealth Rock 3 attacks with Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, Flash Cannon, and Fire Blast for my Aegislash, with like Life Orb or something along those lines. But we'll see what happens in the matchup here as far as I'm concerned. This just covers for Scarf Dialga. Like I said, I'm not really expecting Scarf Dialga, considering I would assume that Dialga would like to switch up moves in this matchup, so there is that to take into consideration. Then next up is my H/slash with leftovers, King Shield, Toxic, Shadow Ball, Sacred Sword. Pretty much a similar set to what I brought last week. The only difference I have Toxic over Substitute. And this set is just designed to wear down his team as a whole. Toxic is mainly there for the Zapdos. I have enough Spadef with max HP to take 2 Fire Blasts from the Dialga if it's not a boosting item like Life Orb or Choice Specs, something like that. And then just do the rest into special attack to boost the power of Shadow Ball. Sacred Sword is mainly just there for the Dialga. I couldn't think of anything else I would put in that particular slot, all things considered. As this is my dedicated Dialga check. I don't plan on going hard H/slash on Dialga just because he can predict me and go for like a Fire Blast. I don't want to get too KO'd unnecessarily with my H/slash. So there's that to take into consideration. Then next up we have Seismitoad with leftovers, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Ice Punch. Actually, if I remember correctly, yeah, I didn't have Knockoff in the actual game itself. At the last minute, I changed Knockoff to Poison Jab because I really was fearing the Azumarill. Like setting up, like I know with Seismitoad I prevented from like Aqua Jets and whatnot, but at the same time I felt like Belly Drum Azumarill could just do a number to my team because of the fact that the stuff that I have don't like taking +6 Aqua Jets. My Seismitoad, if it's not like at a full HP, I don't take a Play Rough, obviously. And his Azumarill can easily like be EV to outspeed like uninvested Seismitoad like I have here. And yeah, so that's really the reason why I went Poison Jab over Knockoff. Like if it was Z Belly Drum, I'd be in a lot of trouble in that regard. So I didn't want to risk that. So I just put Poison Jab to better deal with the Azumarill and also let's begin a potential poison chance on the Zapdos. And Ice Punch is there for Zapdos, for the Torterra, stuff like that. Mostly physically defensive. I know I could take like 2 Spec Secret Swords from Keldeo after Rocks. I think that was what I was going for in terms of the investment. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that's my Seismitoad. The next up is my Crobat with Mago Berry, with Brave Bird, Taunt, Defog, and Roost. He does have access to potential webs and spikes with Smeargle plus Squillfish. I want to have a way of taunting him, prevent him from getting up those hazards, then Defog in case he does get up webs or spikes, and then Roost obviously is for longevity. This is my dedicated switch into Mecha Heracross, as even if he predicts me and he goes for like a Rock Blast, I do have the Mago Berries, so when I get to a low enough health, it will pop, get back 50%, and then I can live the next 2 or 3 Rock Blasts, and then either roost off the damage as he's switched out as Mega Heracross, or I go for Brave Bird to potentially just knock that thing out outright. So, very straightforward set, very bulky, spread, enough speed is there for the Keldeo. It should be Keldeo at the very least. No, it's enough speed for Doug Trio, that's what it was. So I outspeed Dougie, and the rest I just threw between near max HP and defense. So that is pretty much it for my Crobat. And then lastly is my win con in this game, which is Trick Room, Life Orb, Ranunculus with Psychic and Focus Blast as the coverage options. Just looking at his team, this Ranunculus just does so much work because of the main thing is the fact that he doesn't have a Dark type. Like his Psychic Resist is literally just between Girafarig and Dialga, and Dialga does not appreciate taking a Focus Blast, even though it does live. Like, I have a bunch of stuff on my team that can pressure Dialga between my Gallade, my Porygon Z, Sacred Sword on my Aegislash, and EQ on my Seismitoad. So, if he's not able to keep his Dialga healthy, like Ranunculus just does so much work in this game. That's pretty much not much to say about that overall. So I do apologize that this team build is a little bit shorter. I'm a bit strapped for time for this matchup, but nonetheless I was able to play on Wi-Fi, so as opposed to what happened last week, we had to disconnect, but no disconnect this time around. So with that all out of the way, this is the team builder, and with that we'll just switch right on to battle and see how we did for this week. Alright guys, so here we are with the battle against Sock and his Minnesota Twineedles, and the first thing I'm noticing, well, he did bring a couple of mons I did expect him to bring. The Dialga was obvious because H-Slash is a bit of a problem. I expected the Duck Trio, some form of offensive water duo, but he decided to opt for Quillfish over the Azumarill, which I found a bit surprising, and a bit more surprising was the fact that he did not bring the Zapdos, which I thought would be needed to check stuff like my Crobat and my Mega Gallade, but he opted to go for Flygon, Duck Trio, Keldeo, Quillfish, Torterra, and the Dialga. So right away, just looking at his potential sets, I figured that the Torterra was either a setup variant, since Torterra is one of his Z mons. I thought that his Dialga was like Stealth Rock, Dragon Move, Flash Cannon plus Fire Blast with like Life Orb or something like that, and Torterra was like a sweeper, like Rock Polish 3 attacks with like potentially Rocky MZ with Z Stone Edge for Crobat. Keldeo, maybe Specs, Flygon, Scarf, Dougie, like Memento or whatnot, and then Quillfish is like Spikes or something along those lines. So just looking at a lead matchup here, I figured my safest lead would be the Crobat because just looking at his team, his Stealth Rockers would either be the Dougie, the Torterra, or the Dialga, and I'm able to taunt all three of them. I can eat up any one hit, and the fact that he didn't bring Mega Heracross meant that Crobat was a bit more expendable in this matchup, although it does let me check like non-Scarf Keldeo as well, so there's also that to take into consideration. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to start the battle and see how he did. So like I mentioned, we are going to lead up with the Crobat, because I felt like it was the safest thing against his entire team, unless he had like a Scarf Flygon or something like that. So he's going to end up leading off with his Flygon here, and immediately I'm thinking that this thing is Choice Scarf the way he led off with it. So I'm just going to stay in Brave Bird here. I know I got to take an Outrage here, but I'm going to outspeed him as I go for the Brave Bird. And do a good chunk of damage, do over half in fact, as he just goes for the U-turn. It's going to do 10 to my Crobat, so he's going to U-turn out of there, and he's going to go out into his Dialga, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to taunt this and prevent it from going for Stealth Rock this turn, but as you're going to see, he's actually going to go for Flash Cannon and outspeed me, so he really did bring a Choice Scarf Dialga to this matchup, which is not going to kill my Crobat, but it is going to pop my Moggle Berries. I'm going to get back to a full amount of, get a good amount of health back as I go for Taunt for naught, since it's not a, since it was Choice Scarf and not, Stealth Rock 3 attacks here. So I'm going to switch out and go harder to my Seismitoad, because I figured the H-Slash switch in on the Flash Cannon would be too obvious. So now that I have my Seismitoad in against this Duck Trio, he's going to go for Toxic here, so I'm just going to fire off an Ice Punch, because it literally just gets some chip damage off on something regardless here. So I get off a big chunk to this Duck Trio with the Ice Punch here, and now I'm going to just go for my rocks. I don't really care much for HP on my Seismitoad at this point in the game, so he's going to switch out and go out into his Quillfish, expect me to go for another attack, as I'm just going to get on my rocks. The only way he gets rid of rocks on my side on the field is if he's Defog Flygon. And even then, it's still like, I don't really see the nature behind that. So he's going to go out into Quillfish here. I'm going to preserve my Seismitoad after getting intimidated. I'm going to go hard to my Gallade, as he's just going to go straight for the Poison Jab. Do a good chunk, but now I'm just going to stay in here. Go for a Thunder Punch here. As he's going to stay in again, I'm going to Mega Evolve. He is going to go, as I go for the Thunder Punch this turn, and I'm going to get off well over half to this Quillfish, as he's going to go for the Toxic and poison my Gallade, put me on a timer. I don't mind it that much, to be perfectly honest here, but here I'm going to make the switch back into my Seismitoad, because I expected him to go either to Flygon or Duck Trio on the Thunder Punch, but he's actually going to stay in and Poison Jab me, so I think he was just trying to sack this thing off. which was a little bit confusing at this point in the matchup. I felt like at the very least Coldfish could try to go for like spikes or toxic spikes, whatever the case may be. So now he's going to taunt me, which was a bit questionable. I don't know, like him taunting my side mid when I already got up rocks was kind of, I don't know if it was a misplay or whatnot, but nonetheless we're going to knock out the Quillfish with the Earthquake, which is fantastic. And now he's going to go out into his Flygon, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, if he's going out into Flygon, I'm just going to fire off an Ice Punch here. Like, I lose nothing by doing this, but he's actually going to reveal Giga Drain on his Flygon and knock out my Scyther. So solid prep. I really wasn't expecting Giga Drain Flygon in this matchup whatsoever, but Scyther did its job in getting up rocks on the field, so there's that to take into consideration. But I get to go out to my Mega Gallade, click Ice Punch, and we're going to knock out the Flygon in retaliation as a revenge kill. So that kill goes to Mega Gallade. So now in comes the Keldeo here. I figured my best move was Close Combat. I did the calcs, and Close Combat was stronger than Super Effective Thunder Punch. So I went for that, got some damage off with the Close Combat. He's going to go for the Scald here, and he's going to knock out my Mega Gallade, which I'm fine with because Mega Gallade did do its job. Although at this point, this does make dealing with the Dialga a little bit more difficult. But I'm now just going to go on to my Porygon Z. I'm going to revenge kill this Keldeo with the Tri-Attack, as now he's going to go out into his Torterra. I can't take out the Torterra in one hit with my Tri-Attack, so I'm going to preserve my Porygon Z and go out into my Crobat, because Crobat, like I mentioned, is the least useful member on this team, as he is going to go for the try to go for Earthquake, as I am immune thanks to my Crobat. So now I'm going to pull a double into my Aegislash, expecting him to go Dialga on my Crobat, which I thought he was going to do, but he actually ends up going out into his Doug Trio as a sack, not wanting to take any damage on my Aegislash against his Doug Trio. I go back out into my Crobat here as he goes for the Sucker Punch, which kind of surprised me. I thought he would just try to Earthquake, but he Sucker Punches me again, doesn't do anything. I'm just going to go for the Brave Bird with my Crobat, and we are going to knock out the Doug Trio with the Brave Bird. So that's fantastic. So now I'm going to go out into, he's going to go out into his Dialga, his Choice Scarf Dialga, and now I feel like I can now make the play out to my Aegislash here. Like, even if he predicts me, it's totally fine. So I go hard on my Aegislash. He is going to predict me, go for the Flamethrower, and as you're going to see, like, this still does well over half. So this is probably like a modest Choice Scarf Dialga, if anything. So yeah, very, very scary mon. He's now going to pull the switch out into his Torterra, as I am just going to fire off a Sacred Sword. In hindsight, I probably should have went for Shadow Ball this turn because it covered the Torterra switching. And as you're going to see by the Sacred Sword damage, I did nothing. So this is like, this is just screaming to me that this is like a physically defensive Torterra, if anything. So now I'm going to King Shield. Surprise, surprise. I think this is the first time I actually click King Shield without having the use of a sub or anything like that. So I go for King Shield, he makes a solid play, he gets up his rocks on my side of the field, which kind of doesn't matter to me that much because my Crobat's only real job left in this game is to just check this. And I value the other three members of my team a bit more. So now he goes for the Earthquake here. I could have gone into my Crobat, but I decided to eat the hit and go for the Shadow Ball on the Torterra just to get some damage off on this Torterra, so I don't have to worry about something like Reuniclus having to like take two Psychics, because now the Dialga is becoming the bigger issue here, because of the fact that I lost my Gallade. I don't really have much else to deal with it. So now he's going to go for the Synthesis on his Torterra. I expect me to go for King Shield here, but I'm just going to fire off another Shadow Ball. And because of the Spadef drop I got on the turn prior, that's going to do a good chunk of damage to this Torterra. Here, I contemplated saving this, but I didn't want to try to make some crazy prediction here, as my objective was just to keep Torterra low enough to where my my Porygon Z can then come in right afterwards and just click Ice Beam, because Ice Beam is stronger against Dialga than Adaptability Tri-Attack. So in comes my Porygon Z. I am going to click Ice Beam here. It is my strongest move to deal with the Torterra, and it does hit the Dialga harder. So down goes the Torterra, and now it's just Scarf Dialga against the world right now. As I'm going to go for another Ice Beam here, because right now I just want to get as much damage off as I can to not have to risk the Focus Blast on my Ranunculus. But I get the Ice Beam freeze, but luckily he does thaw out the same turn. He goes for a Flash Cannon, and Porygon Z is going to eat that hit, which is fantastic, because what this means is I now go for another Ice Beam here on this Dialga, and now it's guaranteed in range to where my Ranunculus can then come in and click Psychic to end the game. So my Porygon Z is going to go down here to the Flash Cannon, but it's more than enough for my Ranunculus to come in and just click Psychic, because even a crit Flash Cannon will not knock out my Ranunculus, even though I'm not running any Spadef investment or whatnot. Unless he crit me, that was a different story. But now I get to go out into my Ranunculus, click Psychic after taking the Flash Cannon. We take out the Dialga, and we are going to pick up a 2-0 win over the Minnesota Twineedles, ending our 2-game losing streak in that regard. So that was a really fun game. Really solid sets on Salk's Park. The Giga Drain Flygon definitely caught me off guard quite a bit. A couple other stuff like Choice Scarf Dialga definitely caught me off guard. I really wasn't expecting the Dialga to be Choice Scarf in the slightest. I thought, like I said before, I really thought that him wanting to switch up moves with Dialga was so much more important than being a potential Choice Scarf revenge killer. I'm not saying that Dialga is a bad revenge killer. I just thought in this particular matchup, the ability to switch up moves was a bit more useful in the matchup. But in any case, Porygon Z did do a fantastic job in its debut for the team, essentially picking up 2 kills and ensuring that I did not have to risk a Focus Blast with my Ranunculus against that Dialga. So that was a really fun one. Can't complain. We end our 2-game losing streak, and we are now 4-2 on the season. Fantastic. We end our 2-game slides. Can't be happier about that. GG against Assault. It was a really fun game. We will be playing again sometime soon in the future. But yeah, nothing much to say about this game. It was a very straightforward game, to the point. There wasn't really any noticeable hacks as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you guys can enjoy. And until next week, we take on the Trenton Thunderous, coached by Brendan Dark Devil 26, who I know very well. It's going to be a really fun game. It's going to be a really annoying game, but from a matchup standpoint, you'll see soon enough. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. And until the next time, guys, this is Tone, signing out for now. Peace out.